fallout from the 3-day shutdown. Both sides are trying to claim victory. Let's bring in Michael Meehan, the president and CEO of Squared Communications, and Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Michael, I'll start with you. It's tough headlines for Democrats this morning after that shutdown ended yesterday. Let me just read something from David Brooks, the New York Times columnist, who said, "The Democrats are the party that believes in government. It doesn't do them any good to make the federal government look dysfunctional. Democrats, when you lose a negotiation to a president who doesn't know his own position, you've really impressed me." Is there a silver lining in any of this for the Democrats?
Oh, sure. 9 million American children will now have health insurance because of what was passed yesterday. We've been fighting for that for months. It's been 6 months since it's lapsed. I don't know why the Democrats aren't leading with that. And if you take Mitch McConnell at his word, we are going to have a debate about DACA over the next 3 weeks. The Democrats don't control the agenda on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Mitch McConnell does, and he gave his word that he would bring this up. I think those are 2 wins, and they should be taking victory laps. Put it on that T-shirt that guy was having. 9 million more kids have health insurance. That's what I think.
That guy, Peter Ducey. I'll see if I can get you one. Extra large. Matt,
totally.
Let me ask you about that. What Mike was just saying. So now we're going to have the Dreamers in the spotlight for the next 3 weeks because we know the media will focus on that, and that's where it's all going to be. How do Republicans position themselves in order to handle that? There is some skepticism by some on the left that thinks that Mitch McConnell won't actually end up being able to have this vote in the Senate, and that even if they do, the House Republicans won't go for it.
That's the legislative process. That's why you have elections. That's why every corner of this country sends people to Congress, and they have their right to vote their conscience. And what's going to happen is we're going to start the process of trying to get to an immigration bill. I think it's a mistake to say, look, this has to be done in 3 weeks. Immigration is incredibly complicated. The more you understand it, the more you have to kind of relearn things and really go deeper, and so I would be comfortable with the deal, and I would be comfortable with that deal being wrapped up sometime before the summer. And I think smart Democrats would say, let's try to get this done and done right, and not try to just rush something out the door. This is awfully complicated policy.
But will the left groups on the left, Michael, allow Democrats even that space to let it happen? What is the leverage that the Democrats have? And if it comes to it again on February 8th, will they vote to shut down the government again?
Well, yeah, 2/3 of the Democratic caucus voted for reopening the government, and clearly 1/3 of the caucus is running for president in 2020, and totally are speaking to the activist base. But I agree with Matt. I think a solution that covers all of the complicated issues around immigration is better than just dealing with the 800,000 dreamers. You should get a long-term solution.
Maybe we should send you two in there to try to get an agreement.
Dana, I do think that even with the idea of the DACA community, this is very controversial in Republican and conservative circles. Even given one-person amnesty is a controversial topic. The fact that Donald Trump is willing to put that on the table, he deserves great credit for. But really, you got to give these congressmen the ability to look at what the deal is, and they're going to have to make their individual minds up, and we're going to have a nationwide big debate about this.
One thing I did want to ask you, Matt, is that it is interesting to watch the Republicans spend December working together to get tax reform done. They've had a month of good headlines out of that. Then they work together in unison here. Mitch McConnell is super steady, right? He'll take a lot of heat, like on the Garland vote and all that. Do you think that the president and Mitch McConnell have reached some sort of new way to work together that would benefit Republicans going into what was going to be, no matter what, a tough midterm?
Look, it's an unlikely story, but I think there were some of us who saw that Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, I think they're both very steady, working with this new outsider president, that if they could get the big things right, we could really transform Republican politics and really American politics. And I agree with you, Dana, if they can do something meaningful on immigration as well, and that might be doing nothing if it means that they can't get a good deal with Schumer and Pelosi, but if they can continue to work together on the big things, I think we're all going to overlook some of the areas in which sometimes they don't. We spend so much time in the meaningless. It's nice to talk about the meaningful.
Not here, though, on this show.
Not here.
I know that they want me to go, but Michael, let me ask you this. If the Republicans are smart and they figure out a way to put forward in the President's State of the Union address an infrastructure plan that splits the Democratic caucus, will that cause you even more headaches on the rest of this stuff?
Well, we need the roads and bridges to be fixed. The commerce matters. So clearly that is, Democrats will come to the table if it's a reasonable proposal.
All right, Mike.